Okay? Stay there. Do not come anywhere close to us. I'll consider you obstructing us and you can be under arrest or detained. Do you understand that? Is obstruction physical? Your ridiculous questions are so annoying. I'm not going to entertain that.
What's section 3 of
I'm
the
telling you to
Canadian
stay away
Charter
from
of Rights
us.
and Freedoms?
End of story.
What's section 3?
Yeah, they're breaking the law actively though. Yeah, in the United States. I don't know how. I've never actually been to Canada, but I wish I would have been a couple times.
Yeah, it's pretty tyrannical here.
Oh, is it?
My past corrupt judges, they took a judge out of retirement. Guy was over 90 years old if he was a day. They took him out of retirement to convict me because I was known by the judges. I went to school with like the main judge's son.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was my best friend for a while. So they needed to shuffle the judges and all this stuff. And the guy literally was like Grandpa Simpson falling asleep during trial. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, you hear a lot about Canada and from the United States, and you hear that it's just like the United States, only more tyrannical. You know?
Yeah,
more
especially these days.
Wow, that sucks, dude. I feel sorry for everybody because there's a lot of good people in Canada. You know?
There is, yeah. Having some issues finding a nice woman.
All the cool people in the United States come from Canada. I know that, like John Candy and freaking who else? A bunch of the comedians. You know.
Yep, that's for sure.
You know, awesome guys. All Saturday Night Live or whatever. Yeah, yeah. See, I understand that big time. Yeah, you think it's just lovable John Candy, but really it's freaking eats your children off in some kind of pizza factory, John Candy.
Oh man, yeah, crazy world we live in for sure.
Yeah, even if they were stories, why are we even why is this on the fucking like vibe wave? You know what I mean?
Yeah. The 666. Ottawa is actually. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Ottawa
I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
Oh, go for it.
No,
I was gonna say they eat their it's like speaking of the vibe wave, it's like you mean to tell me we live in a world where there's Jeffrey Epstein type islands and they're actually doing this shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're the ones that are supposedly making the laws and telling people how to think through television and movies.
Yeah. Hollywood, entertainment, and freaking the political and the governmental, you know?
Yeah, those are all the people. Yeah, those are all the people who flew Air Lolita, as it's called.
Yeah. The Lolita Express or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember being a little kid, and I remember getting told about like, oh man, we gotta hate the Iraqis and all this other stuff, and then and Russia. You know, it was back in the 80s. It was Russia. Then in the early 90s, late 80s, it was Iraq and Iran. And I was looking at the news, and I seen the American leaders go up and just like shake the hands with the other people that they were trying to tell us that we were supposed to be fighting. And I was thinking, what the hell? Why do they always shake each other's hands and everything? I guess, you know, I was a kid, but, you know, I was just thinking, I thought we were supposed to be at war with these people. Why are we shaking their hands? But then, you know, when you're an adult, you find out that they were being diplomatic or whatever, you know. That's what they tell us anyways. But that's one of the things that I remember as a kid that really stands out as reminding me that of threat too. That's an implied threat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's not happening actively, but we're being told that North Korea is such a bad place and with bad people. But it's not actually happening to us right now, but it might happen. You know what I mean? So we have to be scared on all fronts. We're either getting really attacked or told we are going to be attacked.
Yeah, looming threats. Have you seen this? The 5 filters of mass media?
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's an illustration.
Yeah,
I've
do you
never
wanna
seen that
watch it?
before.
You want to watch
Sure.
it real quick?
Sure.
It's only for like 5 minutes. And just let me know if you ever want me to pause it.
Okay, cool.
Propaganda. Many use the word when talking about countries like North Korea, Kazakhstan, Iran. Countries viewed as authoritarian through the lens of the Western media. Press freedom, freedom of thought. People use those terms when talking about countries like the United States, France, Australia, democracies. In 1988, Noam Chomsky co-authored a book with Edward Herman called...
Oh, and speaking of Jeffrey Epstein, Noam Chomsky has been on Air Lolita as well.
Manufacturing Consent.
Hey,
It blasted apart...
let me tell you something. I always say Epstein's, Weinsteins, and Trumpelsteins. That's how I say it.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
bizarre, right? It's so
Very bizarre.
the notion that media acts as a check on political power, that media inform the public, serve the public, so that we can better engage in the political process. In fact, media manufacture our consent. They tell us what those in power need them to tell us so we can fall in line. Democracy is staged with the help of media that work as propaganda machines. Media operate through 5 filters. The first has to do with ownership. Mass media firms are big corporations. Often they're part of even bigger conglomerates. Their end game, profit. And so it's in their interests to push for whatever guarantees that profit. Critical journalism takes second place to the needs and interests of the corporation. The second filter exposes the real role of advertising. Media costs a lot more than consumers will ever pay. So who fills the gap? Advertisers. And what are the advertisers paying for? Audiences. And so it isn't so much that the media are selling you a product, their output. They're also selling advertisers a product. You. How does the establishment manage the media? That's the third filter.
So this is citizen journalists. Or no, the next one. This guy they let in, and then we'll see what happens to the citizen journalist.
Okay.
Journalism cannot
This
be a
is the
check
whole
on power
depiction.
because the very system encourages complicity.
Say again?
This is showing the whole way how it goes with how the media is let in, but then the true media is shunned,
Right.
you know?
Governments, corporations,
Yeah, true media meaning like honest media.
Yeah, honest media.
Mhm.
Yeah. Even the people that have been trained to hate certain types of groups like illegal immigrants.
Mhm.
You know, you think that we have it bad with our cameras. Wait till you're a legal immigrant. You know what I mean? And you're just trying to be a human on the earth, and they're trying to tell you, "Oh man, you got to speak English around here." You know what I mean? And you're like, but I speak English and Spanish. I think I'm a little bit smarter than you. I knew where I was going, but you're telling me where I'm going now. You know what I mean?
Migrants, yeah. Do you know Adam Kokesh? Do you know? Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I like Adam Kokesh. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a good human being.
I like listening to his audiobook Freedom. So I don't know if you've heard it or read his book Freedom.
No, I haven't, but I should read it. Yeah, I'm trying to read that 48 Laws of Power or whatever that
Right.
Chili was mentioning. It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to read, but
Is it?
I think, yeah, it is. It's kind of like you're reading it, and it's kind of teaching you how people manipulate you, but it's kind of teaching you how to manipulate people at the same
Mhm.
time. So it's kind of a scary book. I'm not really wanting to follow it along, but it's making me feel that way. So,
It's good to know it just to be able to protect yourself.
Yeah, it is good to know it to protect yourself, but I already know it. You see what I'm saying? And I don't have to read the book to know deception, and that I don't want that type of stuff lingering up in my dome piece. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah. It's the manipulation, right?
yeah, it just reminds me that there's people out there that try to manipulate, and some people actually read the book to get to know how to manipulate people, and they don't read it just to know how to not be manipulated. You know what I mean? And when I was reading it and I was thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, it's supposed to be teaching me how to not be manipulated. I was just thinking about all the people that would read it to learn how to be manipulative. You know what I mean? And it just really scares me. You know what I mean? It makes it to where, when you start, or not when I'm just saying, when anybody speaks about like speaking things into existence, and
Mhm.
stuff like this, and some sort of subconscious manipulators can happen. But I would rather, I know what I can do, you know what I mean? And if I can't, then I failed. But I'm not going to I don't want to be speaking anything into existence, even for others, when I'm reading that book and it's like talking about manipulations. And I was just thinking, no, I wouldn't. I want that to go somewhere off into the universe, somewhere off there. You know what I mean?
So there's like suggestive language. So
I don't know. You'd have to read the book, and as you're reading the book, it's kind of like telling a story, but at the same time, it's teaching you these 48 laws of power.
interesting.
You see what I'm saying?
Cool.
And yeah.
It's finally talking to you after being in chats, for so many years now. Right?
Yeah.
Since Chili was in Ironton, I was like 21 or 22.
I think so. I think it was 2021. Yeah, because there's been some pretty crazy stuff because I got like a trespassing charge out of a different county, but I totally fucking made the judge stop. You know what I mean? And I never got to showcase that yet because I'm still worried about retaliation. Because they're a pretty scary bunch. I'm just telling you right now. But
in this other county, they're scary.
Oh yeah, the sheriff,
even worse than Nye County.
The undersheriff calls himself, or the undersheriff's like the sheriff there in that county, right? But the sheriff is some dude, but you've never met the sheriff. You see what I'm saying? The undersheriff goes and handles all the cases. You never even meet the sheriff, right? Like he doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
But the undersheriff back in the day, the undersheriff actually got a 14-year-old pregnant, and then the baby turned out to be his, and they forced him to resign, and he became a Nevada Highway Patrol for a second. But now he's the undersheriff back in the county again after like 5 years passed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And plus they are not. They don't. That just goes to show you that they don't follow the law. You know what I mean? In a particular manner where I don't want to be any part of them. You know,
it's too common.
They tried to, huh?
It's too common. Like you see it everywhere.
They said an oral court date, but they never gave me no paperwork for another court, and I just never even went back. And they never put no warrants out for me or nothing.
Well, that's good, I guess.
But I would have to say something else. But they did something else that was even more egregious. That when I attempted to do something, they had something where I had to pay double, and I got the paperwork for how I had to pay double. I don't want to give too much away because one day there'll be some honest people that can catch these dudes for the true crooks that they are. You know what I mean? Because instead of putting they never had no warrant out for my arrest, and I can prove that I was even seeing their deputies. I got it on video that I was even standing before their deputies under my full legal, my little legal person. You know what I mean? And they never mentioned to me one bit about a warrant. But then when I was being held, all of a sudden out of the blue, they wanted some bail money, right? And still, they got the bail money, but now they're not revising that case any further. You see what I'm saying?
So we should get that money back, right?
Well, yeah, but that's one day down the road, dude. That might happen. I got the paperwork. I got the receipts. And if there ever becomes honest government in the United States, there might be a chance that they can hold these people accountable, or at least the county itself accountable, if the county is still acting in the way that this unfolded. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. If they're still
because
not above level or above water.
I believe that one of these days the camera's going to create a better government. You know, especially when people start actually reading the documents and following the documents per what it says, and using the camera as the guide, you know, because there's some documents, like even in the Nevada State document, even, you know, Nevada State, that's an agency, but the Nevada State Constitution starts out with four like measures or something there. It starts out with, basically it says slavery prohibited 4 times, you know, in 4 different ways. Slavery prohibited.
Yeah, I was binge watching your videos today on 1.5 speed.
Oh, yeah?
You had mentioned that. Yeah. Yeah, what was rewatching some videos before?
Yeah, it's kind of important though. It sounds stupid and everything, and I kind of hate watching my videos and everything. But because I don't really like to talk like I protest, you know, and I hate watching my videos where I'm under duress and I'm protesting, and I just don't like that. But at the same time, what I was where I was going with, I was trying to tell you something. About the slavery and the Constitution of the state of Nevada, and you know, when they were telling me to take off my shirt because it said some language on it, you know, I mean that was slavery. They were definitely making me a slave. You know, I mean, I was the NIGGER, right?
Right.
They were making me black. As
like you said, even the Supreme Court, you know, they had the "fuck the draft" shirt on, and now this backwater judge thinks that he can infringe on the rights that the Supreme Court can't. Like,
I don't know if they can medicate my shirt into compliance, but I think that that's what they're going to try to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For people who don't know, his public defender, the person who's supposed to be standing up for him, is recommending chemical restraints in court.
That's kind of awkward.
That's just to get into the court as well. Like he has to meet a bailiff outside the court, and I assume they'll give him the ketamine or whatever it is there.
Jesus. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, like he's going to be restrained before he can even go. And it's his public defender that's recommending this. And I think it might have to do with the letter that I wrote her.
It's horribly scary, dude.
Because he forwarded the letter from her, and there was like some stuff in there that I had said. So, like, I was trying to garner sympathy, but she took my attempts to garner sympathy as ammunition to use against Mr. Provstgaard. Sad. Seems like she's kind of like retaliating for me reaching out to her.
Oh, possibly. I wanted to start forwarding these things because I didn't really know how to forward them. But I know that you can just push the forward button and just add the name. But I don't know how to like do anything with the names. I just know how to add them onto there. And I was adding as many freedom lovers names on there as I could find in my contact email list or whatever. And there's like a PAR with the police accountability. You know what I mean? There's who else? The tribe and guys like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But police accountability report. I even had emailed Bay Area Transparency something in the past because his was there, so I even added his on there. You know what I mean? So he would be able to see what the state of Nevada was doing to me. You know, he's been doing a lot of things in the state of Nevada.
You forwarded Fox as well, the Oregonian High Impact Flicks.
Hell.
My number one fan, Jeff Hates Pigs.
Hell.
Grim Reaper Network, Record Police, Reno News Now, Broken System, Broken Trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of people on that list. Have you heard from too many of them?
Not a whole lot, you know.
A
couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, I hope that people start supporting each other more and more, getting the stories out on their channels, especially stuff that's like so egregious, like your story.
It's kind of crazy. My story is weird because, for one, the little county it's not a little county at all. It's like bigger than some of the states in our country. Okay. And as far as the landmass, but the population is very little. And like the town that I live in, for instance, has like less than 200 people in it. So, you know, and it used to be an incorporated city, but they disincorporated somewhere back in like 97 or 98, 99, somewhere in there. But yeah, so now it's
wide open space around.
Yeah, now it's known as an unincorporated area, which is it's supposed to have no governance or whatever. But the county, they call it out in the county, you know, so the county comes out and watches over it and stuff. But a lot of the people in that town don't even really want the county around because all the county is a threat to the people, you know what I mean? But then there's like 3 or 4 county agents that live in the town, and the bar owner is a county agent. He's the town board president or whatever. So it's like, oh, he sells them alcohol and he presides over them as a president. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one theme on my channel is alcohol is the worst drug.
Yeah.
And so what type of person poisons their community like that?
Oh, I know, but it's for profit. You know, it's like I make a good little chunk of money, you know? Yeah. Funny enough, the dude's last name is Green, and he's related to Seth Green, a Lolita Express rider.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Is that weird? Yeah, and it's so weird because our little town is known as the Tarantulas, the mascot. And so it's kind of famous for having the mascot as the tarantulas because there's a tarantula migration through town. Well, cool. Yeah, and
get that on camera.
Dude actually even came out to our fucking town, and get this, when Seth Green came out to our little less than 200 people town, all the little kids in town, oh my God, Seth Green, you know what I mean? And freaking, he's the Lolita Express rider, you know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh, this couldn't even be more telling. I'm like, what the hell's really going on around this little town? Out in the middle of nowhere, Area 51 is close by. It's weirder than shit. You know, you can't make this shit up.
Yeah, truth is stranger than fiction. Not just sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Oh, do you want to talk about your experience in Nye County?
I'll tell you a sucky story, but it's like really sucky for me, but at the same time, it explains a lot. And that was like when I was a kid, I had problems, you know what I mean? And they were always trying to find out what was wrong with Willis. You see what I'm saying? And next, all of a sudden, I was already like, I can remember being cognizant at a very young age, okay? Even in the womb, right? Because I was cognizant. I could hear my parents argue. And
You remember it?
yeah, and I can remember my dad had gotten laid off of his job, and I was the only child that was going to be born at home with no insurance, right? And people wonder why I have such a problem with insurance today. You know, my mom was bitching at my dad while I was in her belly, and I could hear it through the water. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was bitching at my dad about when's he going to get a job, and she has no insurance, and all this other shit, you know? And then freaking I was born at home on a couch in Utah, you know, and out on a farm that was your nearest neighbor was a mile down the way, you know. We had like 2 to 4 fields that surrounded our house. My dad was like a state champion trap shooter that took his hunting buddies out. He bred Weimaraners and did pheasant hunting in the fields. You know what I mean?
What's a Weimaraner?
Yeah, Weimaraners.
What is that?
Yeah. What?
What is that? I have no idea.
A Weimaraner is a German-bred dog that was the first dogs they let out of Germany was in 1965, and it was considered a German royalty dog. But my dad bought like a 12 dog out of Germany in 1965, and then the dog was gun shy, so he flew it back east and had it bred, and then got the pick of the litter, and
Very cool.
got some other things, and he bred the dog. He bred that pick of the litter from 1965, and the dog last bred in like 1984 or something like that. And yeah, it was like the year before it died. It had a litter of puppies. You know,
Like my dad.
it had yeah.
Yeah, my dad had a kid.
At like
the year he died.
oh yeah, wow. Dang, sorry about your dad dying and stuff, but he had a child like at 80 years old, like a year before he passed away or something.
Yeah, at 60 years old. Yeah.
Oh, 60? That's pretty good for good male. You know,
Yeah,
doing what a male's supposed to be doing.
He was always into the younger women, and they were into him. So
Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, freaking yeah. There's a lot of badness that happened with all of that. It wasn't all great, you know.
okay.
But yeah,
It's
parents
unusual to
divorced when I
remember being in the womb.
yeah.
Most people
When I
don't.
was 3 years old, I've been suicidal since I was 3 years old.
Wow, yeah, that's unusual too. Usually children aren't like that, but
Yeah.
these days more and more it's happening.
When I was like 3 years old, I didn't know what the hell I was feeling, so it translated as like standoffishness. You know what I mean? Like I would hide behind the couch. I would go out and lay in the grass, the tall grass. I'd roll in the tall grass to make a little spot where I could hide from everybody, and I could just lay down in the grass and be alone for hours. You know, I fall asleep in the grass out back, and then wake up at dark and come in the house. My mom would wonder where I was at, stuff like that. That's what I would do when I was a kid. It was weird, you know. But then, yeah. My parents divorced, but we moved to Elko, Nevada, and that's how I moved to Nevada. You know, and I was 7 years old, and then when I was 9 years old, my mom actually got with an abusive police department pig. You know, and she's still married to the guy. They married when I was 10. We met him when I was 9. Then they married each other when I was 10, and they're still married. But my mom and him have been separated off and on since I was 12 years old. But that was another bad story because the dude was abusive. You know what I mean? And he used to. He was from Kentucky, so he had a southern drawl, and he'd like try to whip me and then tell me that the day I whipped his ass, he'd have one foot in the grave or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Type of deal. And I didn't whip him, but I freaking got the better upper hand of his ass when I was 12 years old, and that was when my mom and my stepdad separated for a little bit because I think we said something about each other's daddies, and he came running at me. He thought that what he was gonna say. I was 12 years old, and he was like 30 something, 40 something, right? 30 something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was in his 30s. I was 12 years old and he was in his 30s, and freaking he thought that what he was going to say about my daddy was going to be worse than what I said about his. You know what I mean? When I said something about his daddy, he come run at me because his one stunk. You know what I mean? I can't even remember what it was I said, though, but I was good with words, you know, even back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking, yeah. Shit, I might have been 11 then. It's not 12, but yeah. It was funny, you know, but when he came running at me, I kind of fainted. I fainted to the side, and it tripped him over the top of me, and he went into the couch. Right, I jumped on his ass and just started fucking socking him. You know, I seen his eyes rolling back in the back of his head. You know what I mean? I just kept on his socking, right? And then when I noticed his arms were just down, I just ran out of the fucking house and ran all the way up to where my mom was working and told her no, and that told her what happened, and then her and my stepdad went into separate homes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that seemed to be the right thing to do for
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah.
Was he drinking at the time?
No, he didn't drink. No, he was.
Huh.
Cops they drink, yeah, but they do worse things than drinking, because drinking kind of takes them out of their. They can get caught for drinking and driving and all that other shit. So a lot of them don't do it, but a lot of them do heavier drugs like cocaine, methamphetamines. You know
So
what I mean?
You think he was doing that?
Oh
Something like
shit! I know he was doing that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And not only he was doing that, but some of the people that were the freaking best in his department was the best guys. He was known as the pig cop, right? But there was a big teddy bear that was his best friend in the Elko PD, and his ass was this psycho's best friend. You know what I mean? They hung out on the weekends. You know what I mean? Because they were like friends. You know what I mean? When cops hang out, they swing with their wives. Okay, they freaking do drugs. They do all sorts of crazy ass shit. I'm telling you. They
Bold
act like-
accusations.
no, they every weekend for a cop is like Rom Springer. You see what I'm saying? The whole week they're being cops, right? And they're all supposed to be these pillars of society. And when it becomes the weekend, it's like Rom Springer every single weekend for these pieces of shit. They fucking hit the streets. They're like, oh, God, get me $60,000 of cocaine and a couple hookers. I need to swing with my wife on the side. Can we get 2 hookers to go and a couple? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why they all need $200,000 salaries, I guess.
Yes, that's why they need $200,000 and some salaries. And what my parents would do is they would leave us kids at home on the weekend, and they would go out of town where, you know, to like the bigger city. And then what they would do is they would meet at a fucking restaurant with another couple. It would be like if my stepdad was Elko PD, but he was talking to a Reno PD guy for the last month, showing each other pictures of their wives, you know, showing each other pictures of themselves. You know what I mean? And then freaking what they would do is they would meet up in like a bigger city like Reno. They would meet at a restaurant. They would even get the waiter to take a picture of the couples. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they have a picture. They'd be sitting at a booth, at a restaurant booth, and the couple would be with their right wives, you know, with the wives they're supposed to have, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then they would get the waiter to come over and take a picture, you know, and they would show the true couples, you know, the man and wife. But then they would have the wives swap seats. This pig's wife would go with this pig, and that pig's wife would go with the other pig and sit next to each other at the restaurant table. And then they would have the waiter take a picture of those 2 couples. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And they wouldn't take they would take pictures of them in sexual. They would take pictures of them doing sexual things, and they would bring their sexual pictures home, right? But the thing about it is that fucking they would not share their sexual pictures PD to PD. They would share the pictures of them sitting next to each other's wives, PD to PD, so that, you know, like if I was a pig and you were a pig and you had your wife and I had my wife, I wouldn't show you a picture of me and my wife having sex with another couple. I would just show you a picture of me and my wife at a restaurant with another pig and his wife, and then you would know that I was a swinger. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
And then that would be able. I'm not showing you. Oh, look at my wife right here having sex with this other cop. Isn't she pretty? Would you want to share your wife with me? I'll share my wife with you. You see what I'm saying? They use restaurant photos for that. You see what I'm saying?
Interesting.
It's like advertising the goods. They use restaurant photos to advertise the goods. And you know how they say like 40% of the cops do abusive things in the home?
I do know that.
I bet you over 40% of the cops swing.
Interesting.
Okay?
Yeah, insider information from the stepson of a doggy
On
that
top
thinks
of
he's
it,
a pig.
yeah, on top of it, dude, in the law enforcement community, they all have to wear their little black watch on their left hand, on their left wrist, and they all have to have their they all have to wear their black watch. Is all I can say about that. Is they all have to wear their little black watch, and they all have to have their wedding band. You see what I'm saying? Because they think that it makes the cops look like better cops if they're married. They're full men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They think a married man is like the way that the life is supposed to be. So if you're a cop, you want to be a full man. You want to have a wedding. You want to have a wife. Well, that shit is beyond that, because some of these cops are only getting married to some ladies just to marry them, just to have that marriage to be able to show that they're the full man, right? And they don't love their wives. They don't love their children. All they love is themselves. They want to look really good at work and on the street, but they do not give a shit what they look like in their house. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
They will beat you.
You know where else they want to look good is inside the lodge.
Oh, big time.
Right?
Yeah, because they're all elf lodge type.
Right? Yeah, it's a misogyny club, right? So why do you need to love the woman that you're with?
Yeah.
That's why when I go to the RCMP about genocide and treason within our government, I'm going to ask for a female officer that's not married, because even when the females marry into the secret societies, then, they do get some of the knowledge, and they have to, go along with the man. And one of those things is don't bring crimes of other members to the civil authorities. For police to be so involved in these secret societies that say screw the civil authorities while they are the civil authorities, kind of explains a lot of the we investigated ourselves and declared us to be heroes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, big time. That judge, the judge, Jennifer Clapper, Nye County judge, she's really a justice of the peace. She's not even a judge. They keep calling her judge. Like, I pointed it out that the NRS Nevada revised statute, it clearly states that there's a difference between a justice of the peace and a judge, because it says denomination of courts where held, and it says where justice of the peace hold a court, it shall be known as a justice court, and shall always be open or something and have no terms. And it's something like NRS 174 or something like that.
Yeah, 500.
It's called denomination of court, so you can find it out on Google. But this judge, she back in the 2015 or 2016, I have a court video that I FOIA request. I didn't FOIA request it back then, though. I just requested a copy of the court video. I didn't know that I was placing a FOIA request. I was just requesting a copy of the court video back in like 2015. And in the video, I take a snippet of that video because she tries to talk to me about my attire, and this was the first time, bro, since I was a little kid. Back in 2015, me and my sister, we basically look up what we've been charged with, the NRS code and everything else, and do some homework on it. And me and my little sister have been doing this since we were kids, because being the kids of a cop, stepkids of a cop, we learned how other people handled their shit. You know what I mean? So when it was, my little sister has really basically been like my watcher and protector. Like I've had mental problems since I was a kid, right? But my little sister, she's like really good at reading and writing and doing stuff.
She seems like a really strong support for you in a Spitfire, for sure.
Yeah, no, she is. She's crazy. She like wants to work on trucks, and she also wants to be a mother. That's the way she is. You know what I mean? She's good at doing things where I'm not good at doing things, because I've had dyslexia and other speech impediments and learning disabilities. It's really hard to read perfectly when you have dyslexia, because T's will look like other words or other letters. And the letters will look like, even if I know how to read really good. My mom taught me how to read when I was 4 years old, but at the same time with dyslexia, you don't read good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen because your brain is constantly tripping over what your eyes are seeing along the sentence when you're reading.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's hard for me. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm stupid. I can learn, but it just takes me a little bit to learn. So
yeah, absolutely. People often tell me, "Oh wow, you're really smart," but I can tell that you're a smart guy for sure.
Thanks, bro.
No, I can. I can tell you, especially watching your videos again today, and I actually forwarded one of your videos to the state bar and said, if you think this guy needs chemical restraints, then you're just as criminal as his public defender.
Wow.
So,
Thanks for saying that, because that's more than likely true. You know what I mean? You know?
yeah. It was the 2-hour video live of you in the courthouse.
Man, back in 2008, I was in the jail in Nye County, and I was hearing about this old Mulvaney and Myers or something. It was they were supposed to be working with the ACLU to sue the Nevada public defenders in the whole state of Nevada, because the Nevada public defenders were failing people. And this was way back in like 2008, 2009, 2010, something like that. And then it took them from like 2010 to like 2016, I believe, somewhere around in there, to freaking finally come to like a settlement in this lawsuit against the Nevada public defenders. And it totally didn't do nothing for the public defenders. They are, I think, a little bit crookeder than before the lawsuit went through. You see what I'm saying? Because I used to think that they were like they had like a 97% deal rate,
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. But the thing about it is that was scary back in the 90s with a 97% deal rate. But then through the 2000s, they start, what do you call that when you progress, when like an animal starts getting to be better at what they're doing? They started freaking maliciously prosecuting, disgusting, like knowing that they're maliciously prosecuting, but keep on doing it. But who's going to stop them type deal?
It's the public defenders that are, colluding with the prosecutors, right?
Oh, big time. When I like this public defender, I stopped getting public defender. I stopped using public defenders way back in the day. But one of the cool people on YouTube, right, that I'm friends with, I don't want to say anything right now, but I just want to say that he's like told me to get to use the public defender so that I could, find out what they would do for me, and then do things like and then, if they do good for me, they did good. But if they don't do good, then, you would obviously, do, the misconduct, it's a cause for appeal. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So, so I was thinking, that's true. Why not use a public defender just to see what the public defender is going to do, But then when they give me a public defender, they try to give me a public defender I fired in 2016, like it wasn't even going to be a conflict of interest issue, or like that nobody would point it out, or that nobody even thinks about conflicts of interest. They tried to give me this dude that I fired in 2016. It's like, what the hell? What do I want to fire him again? You know what I mean? And man, when I tried to fire him in this case, he acted like he didn't have to go nowhere. I was like, what? So, I can't remember what, maybe I put a complaint, or I complained hard enough orally, or maybe something happened. Well, that's how I got this lady that threatened to fucking have me sedated or whatever. They want to sedate me. It's like a Suicidal Tendencies song. Sure, I like Suicidal Tendencies for their riffs and their fucking tone of voice, but do I really want to be fucking like in a room wishing for a Pepsi?
I was thinking the Ramones.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
I want to be sedated.
Yeah, that song too. I was thinking of Suicidal Tendencies Institutionalized, because that's what would happen. I don't do drugs. I don't drink alcohol. I smoke a little weed, which is the herb of the earth. It's like the one plant on this earth that's like real. You know what I mean?
I call it the mother's herb.
Yeah. The thing about it is that they want to put me in a sedation to where if by the time I get out, I'm addicted to opiates or freaking what is that other one?
Barbiturates?
What do you call that? Yeah, barbiturates. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, geez, dude, by the time I get out of their jail, I'm addicted to barbiturates or opiates. What the fuck? Not even the same person. I'm all doing the Thorazine shuffle and shit. That's what they want for me. I could tell.
Right. Yeah. It seems like despite your peacefulness, like you said, you don't even like hearing yourself as you protest, which I can relate to. I hate hearing myself if I raise my voice, which is one reason I carry around my amplifier more. So I don't have to yell over people when they interrupt me. Just because I get
plus
a lot.
Like that jerk. Sorry, I totally cut you off right there, and I'm sorry about that. I wanted to say, because that jerk that was he started out harassing me, dude. And then when I started recording him, that's when he started threatening to stuff my camera up my ass. But that jerk, I would have been very helpful to him if he would have been nice to me, but he had always come at me wrong ever since I very first known him, you know.
Jim Basinger.
Yeah, you know, he ever since I very first met him, he was kind of like a jerk to me, and it was like, what the hell, bro? But when I started protesting this skate park in my town, that's when we started having some problems. You know what I mean? Because they started in 2010 giving me like dog at large tickets every time I turned around. They would tell me about my dogs running around town, right?
Yeah.
Well, I went to every court and I beat every single dog at large ticket. I beat them all 4 of them. There was this guy named Judge Mashlack, the Knight County Justice Court in Tonopah. Judge Mashlack. He was really Justice of the Peace Mashlack, but they call him Judge Mashlack. I mean, come on. This is in the 90s, though. This was before I started doing a lot of research. This was when I was a young kid, you know, probably in the early 20s.
Okay.
You know, and yeah, I ended up. It was 2010. 2010. So I wasn't in my early 20s. I was like in my late 20s. You know, I was still a kid though. I really didn't start. I knew there was something wrong, and we always kind of like fought our charges. But at the same time, I didn't really start being an activist until I saw Kelly Thomas beat to death by the cops.
Kelly Thomas?
Yeah, Kelly Thomas. He's a guy. He almost looked like me or you, and he was beat to death by the cops. I can't remember where. It was either Arizona or California where he was beaten to death by the cops. Might have been New Mexico.
Wow.
Kelly Thomas. If you could look it up, if you have an extra computer handy. Oh yeah, we were watching that cool video. We should get back to watching that cool video, but all of a sudden we morphed into listening to my story, kind of.
Yeah, we can finish it if you want. There's not much left, like 40 seconds.
Oh yeah, it was only 5 minutes long, huh? That's probably what really happened to it.
Here you go.
Oh, cool. Hella.
Is the 5th filter. Communism. Terrorists. Makes sense. You need an enemy, a target. That common enemy is the 5th filter. Communism. Terrorists. Immigrants. A common enemy. A boogeyman to fear helps corral public opinion. 5 filters. One big media theory. Consent is being manufactured all around you, all the time.
Yeah, that was one of the first videos I ever featured on my channel.
Man, that was, you know, that's outstanding. And, you know, when did you say that was made?
Let's see.
90 something you said?
Well, yeah, I can see when Chomsky wrote the book.
Oh, yeah. Noam Chomsky, huh? That's what it was. That's why it had those actors in it. That lady that was narrating was like a really famous lady. Well, no wonder, because Noam Chomsky.
What we just watched was an Al Jazeera cartoon based on Manufacturing Consent, which was a 1988 book by Chomsky and Edward S. Herman.
Wow.
Did you recognize the lady's voice?
Yeah, I recognize that lady's voice. She's a common narrator. I believe I've recognized her voice from somewhere. It's a news organization, something like that.
I saw.
I think it's Amy Goodman. Isn't it Amy Goodman?
Amy Goodman?
Yeah, Amy Goodman.
American broadcaster and journalist. Okay.
So she was a news lady, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I know her from. Is I recognize her voice from the news.
Oh, you'll probably say in the credits here.
All the time.
Yep. Amy Goodman.
Yeah.
How could you get that? Wow.
I don't know, because it stood out to me. I was trying to see who made it, but I forgot. I didn't catch who made it. But as I was trying to catch who made it, all of a sudden the narrator's one stuck in my face. You know what I mean? So I caught the narrator, but I didn't catch who made it. You know. But yeah, they got some of those people some of those names that right there on that freaking who made that show had to have been an insider at one point to some pretty wicked shit that would make them do that. That's far before any of this Pizzagate came out, right? I'm probably sure that Noam Chomsky was probably like offered to be like right in the head of the dudes. You know what I mean? He's like right up in there.
It shocked me. I really didn't expect Chomsky to be on there. Check out this person. Do you recognize her?
I'm not sure if I recognize her. No, she looks like somebody's mother.
It's Mary McDonnell. This is a First Amendment audit on outside a post office in LA.
Wow.
Pretty sure it's her.
She's the auditor, or she's the person
she just came up to them and asked, what are you doing? Let's show it.
Post office is videoing you as well.
Yeah, that's what those people don't get.
What's that?
The post office is videoing them as well, and the post office is actually the government that is enslaving them is worse than the people that are trying to, the people that are watching the post offices are trying to protect people, and the security cameras up in the top of the government thing is actually trying to put a surveillance ring on the comings and goings of the average everyday people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They actually have satellites now that like track every vehicle and every person.
Yeah, it's even worse now. It's like we can't go nowhere without them knowing exactly where we're at. That's why I'm kind of scareder than scared to be whatchamacallit, sedated or whatever, or put what'd she say? She said bound, gagged, and medicated into competency, I think she said.
Right, yeah.
It's
medicate my client to competency.
Yeah. She doesn't even give a shit about my mental state, dude, because she doesn't know what I work with every single day trying to battle my mental problems, like my traumatic brain injury and my obsessive compulsive personality disorder, the borderline Tourette's.
Okay.
That's something that you have to work through mentally on a day-to-day basis. It's like when you can't speak right perfectly, and then you think, and then it's in your head that it's weird, and you're trying to battle with yourself to make it okay. You know what I mean? Like when I don't like going to the cash register, lady, because I'm gonna have to deal with speaking to them, and I might have to smile at them. Do I really want to smile at this lady? Because I don't even know this lady, but why do I have to smile at her? If I don't smile, is she gonna hate me and do something bad to me? She's the cash register lady. You know how everybody uses their opinions to rub off on everybody else. And these are things that are going through my head, but I still have to decide to go up to the cash register to make a common purchase. You see what I'm saying? And then these are things I have to deal with. And that lady wants that public defender wants to bound and gag me and medicate me into compliance, not compliance, but competency. She said. It's like, whoa. I wonder who's going to be able to, who's going to be the one holding me down and fucking putting the shit in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the sheriff.
Is anybody going to be able to stop them? That's what I would like to know.
Yeah, I would love to see you get a good lawyer and you get a change of venue. I think a change of venue is
we asked for a change of venue. We put in paperwork that said that we wanted to change the venue and stuff, but what they did was they took it back. The justice court clerk lady takes it back, copies it, but doesn't file it with the court. She gives us both copies back, and we caught that on video. It's in my my videos, but I didn't include that part. It's in my. I was trying to showcase a certain point, so I can't just put in the whole video. I didn't post that on YouTube yet, but it's in my evidence. Given to people. You know what I mean? Because it has to be. It's not like I'm gonna leave any of my evidence. I'm gonna make 2 copies of my evidence and leave it at 2 different people's houses. You see what I'm saying? That's how.
Yeah, you gotta do that. You gotta do that type of stuff. I triplicate all my stuff.
Yeah. I bought a lot of thumb drives in the last 2 years,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you have to do in this day and age with so many corrupt officials and just malicious, malevolent officials.
They were used to getting away with
so much hate in their heart. I wonder.
Oh, I know. But to them, it's not really hate. It's just business as usual. So it's kind of sad because they may know what they're doing, but it's almost like a sickness they don't know how to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they have to. If they don't protect this guy, then that guy could have been the key to their racket. You see what I'm saying? Their web of protection. You know, so they have to pick and choose which ones they're gonna put all the blame on, because that's why when 20 cops are on the scene and most of them are beating on a guy and the guy dies, only like 1 or 2 of them usually get in trouble. And it was the whole 20 that, even the ones that were standing there doing nothing about it. And it's the reason why is because they can't get rid of a whole big they can't get rid of a big ass portion of webbing that is holding their web together, that allows them to create this bubble protection around them. That's probably what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it goes back again to the secret societies that they're all members of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like when Jeffrey Epstein does that, then they say that Jeffrey Epstein hung himself in a cell. That's kind of, ooh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fake. Do you know Fake Mike Real News? That channel, Will Turbot. He actually interviewed someone who read the medical examiner who read the Epstein autopsy and said that no way he killed himself. That he's only ever seen someone break a thyroid bone when they went off a cliff and hit their neck on the steering wheel when the truck stopped, and he had a broken thyroid bone.
Wow. So somebody got him in the chest so hard with something that
the neck.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, and in that same interview, he said that funeral home directors were determining cause of death, if that cause of death was COVID.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Oh, well, we know that would be an argument for that they would want to be presenting. You know, we can't even prove that the mother effa is dead.
Sure. Yeah, or John McAfee. You know.
Oh yeah, that guy too. He's probably he's probably on the 13th floor. You know what I mean?
I did take some advice from John McAfee though, and try excessive amounts of caffeine. He said it's like crystal meth if you do it right.
Wow.
So I've been trying it out a bit.
I got a coffee maker the other day, and I got a pot over here, but I only had like 2 cups of coffee today. But you know, that's how it goes. You know,
I like to treat myself after I get arrested. I don't usually drink coffee while I'm out, but after I get arrested, I'll usually go in. So, yeah, been having fun with playing with the cops lately.
Yeah, I'm scared about it.
Yeah, I'm scared too, man. Yeah.
You know,
when the cops were on the way, it took a while today, and my mouth is just dry. I always bring water with me though. But
and they were taking forever to arrive.
Yeah. Well, first they called 911, and I heard the 911 operator tell her that it wasn't an emergency to call the normal line. Which yes.
Oh wow!
I've been campaigning Toronto Police to do that.
That's good. That's good.
I've been campaigning Toronto Police to do a lot of things, and it seems like they're starting to. Like I didn't even get torture cuffed today.
Good.
When I was arrested. Yeah, it seems like they're only torture cuffing people when they resist now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, if they pose a threat, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's compared to when I first started, my first arrest. I was in cuffs before I was even told I was arrested.
Yeah.
So
I think that I was downtown Reno. We were going live. Turned out it was going to be a zombie crawl. Sacramento Community Watch and Reno News Now invited me to Reno to go like cop watch and everything, but they didn't inform me there was going to be some zombie crawl around Halloween time. You know, I don't celebrate the traditional Satan rituals anymore. I stopped in 2005, but
nice.
Freaking the thing about it is, so we get there and it's zombie crawl down there, and there was tons of people. But I watched this Mexican guy. He was in there trying to get a lighter, I think, to light his cigar, and it turned out something was wrong with his money, so he wasn't able to buy the lighter. But he had the lighter in his hand, so he walked to the front door and he lit his cigar. Right, he was going to turn around and give the lighter back to the place, but they were trying to get him because he used the lighter one time. They were trying to get him with stealing the lighter.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? And he goes, I just used the lighter. You know what I mean? This is what this Mexican guy was saying. He was like, I just borrowed the lighter. I used the lighter. That's how he was saying it. And then all of a sudden, freaking the guy came around the corner with the He was he's behind the counter. Yeah, that's why I was trying to say desk in my freaking head, but I was knowing that it was something different. Okay, he comes around the counter. The cash register dude comes around the counter with like a cane and freaking starts whacking the shit out of the Mexican dude while the freaking security guard for the store had the Mexican guy in like a freaking full Nelson, you know? And yeah, and a lot of us caught this on our cameras, but when we would get close to the casinos or when we got close to the cop cars, our videos were going all crackly. But Sacramento Community Watch, he got a pretty good view of what was going on. You know what I mean? If you watch his channel about it, it was pretty dang cool. But what they did was they freaking took the Mexican dude out of the store and arrested him, right? But really, they should have just questioned the Mexican dude about what was really going on, right? But basically, for the store register guy and the security guard, they were basically arresting the Mexican dude. But the Mexican dude really just wanted to borrow a lighter or even buy it, but his money was something wrong. But anyways, yeah, we were there and we were like trying to tell the cops, hey man, we know that he's a suspect and everything, but would you please like be easy on him? Don't hurt his shoulders and his freaking wrists and everything else, you know. And they start getting 2 cuffs out. They still handcuffed the dude, but they at least stopped like chicken winging him. That's when they bring it up, you know, when they got your hand behind your back, but then they bring it up too high.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped doing the chicken wing move on him when we were trying to tell him to stop, you know, like, because a lot of the times cops don't realize that. It's like if you're a subject or a suspect, they treat you like you've been convicted, guilty right there on the spot. They're all ripping your arm, shoulders out and everything else, you know. And it's like, whoa. Yeah, I did the protest move. I did the auto flop. You know what I mean? You know, I didn't have to assist them in walking myself to the car in their false arrest. I didn't push the cop. Then the cop has to arrest me. No, I'm protesting. Yeah, I'm using. I was saying, name and employee number. Name and fucking employee number. You know what I mean? And I'm standing about 3 to 4 feet away from the employee, and all of a sudden I get shoved, you know, and I'm like, don't shove or don't push me. And it turned out it was the deputy, but you know, I don't know, you know, everything happens so fast in the instance that you don't actually know how it plays out in that instance. You know, the little short amounts of time seems like long amounts of time. And
that's another thing that I touch on a lot in my channel is the amygdala hijack, where when you feel threatened, like your adrenaline pumps and like your lizard brain takes over.
Yeah, you know, and I think I could believe that, you know, and I've heard of it too. But you know, the thing is though, is it's like he pushed me first. Just the bottom freaking line. He pushed me first. I wasn't there to touch anybody. I was there to use my voice in public. I was there to protest and record. You know, the agents were there. The same agent that just threatened me the day before was again within 50 to 60 yards of my home. He's the one that's been harassing me since 2010, 2015. It was when I started recording him. You know, no matter how many times I complain about these agents, they just keep allowing these agents to come near my home. But when I say that they're harassing me, they act like, wait a second. He's just doing his job. So you mean to tell me he's just up there, just like outside, and he's harassing you? It's like, well, no, because I have it on video from 2015 where he's out there calling me bottom feeding Obama lover. He was telling me that did I get my mom to read that for me? Telling me that he doesn't think I'm bright enough. He said something about he doesn't think I'm very intelligent, something like that. He said, you know, and next, all of a sudden, he was like telling me about my dirty yard and everything, telling me about my junk and calling it trash or whatever else. You know what I mean? But, you know, a lot of people don't realize that my yard is like a art form. You know what I mean? I was actually going to start just feeling, because there's like a chain link fence all the way around. And I was going to start filling up the chain link fence with just trash, you know, real trash, not just like things that looks like it's secondhand and I'm going to reuse. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm talking about I was going to fill up the entire yard with real trash. Like it should have been a landfill. You see what I'm saying? Like, and then yeah, that's an art. That would be my art. You know, it's like some people use a paintbrush and paint, but I was going to use trash. You know, okay. And I was going to just have it sitting right there, however high it can pile up. You know what I mean? Try to make a path to the door. I might have to make a retaining wall to hold it all back so I can at least get to the easement. You know what I mean? Pretty soon I'll be using the trash as the roof. You know, see how high this artistic pyramid can grow. You know, that's what I was thinking. You know, but I was thinking that my mom wouldn't like that much. You know what I mean? She'd think I was pretty crazy.
I think we had some friction over this issue when I first looked at your channel and was commenting. And you mentioned OCD earlier, and hoarding disorder often goes with.
Oh, I know, but I'm not a hoarder. No, I'm not a hoarder.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, is the inside of your house?
I think that you told me I was a hoarder before, but no. Yes, I do have obsessive compulsive disorder, but it's an obsessive compulsive personality disorder. I don't have to like count my fingers, and I don't have to like shut the door 3,000 times just to make sure that it's locked once. You know, that's not the way my obsessive compulsive works. Okay, I wish that was the way my obsessive compulsive works, but I have like a personality disorder that where it affects my entire being. You know what I mean? But no, hoarding is not a problem of mine. Yes, I do like to keep the stuff that I can find that I can use, but I'm not going to just sit there and I knew this one guy that was a hoarder that had like 16 Yorkies, right? And he didn't like to let them go outside because he thought if they went outside, somebody would come and steal these 16 Yorkies. You know what I mean? So he let the 16 Yorkie shit in the house. And then on top of it, instead of when he bought like stuff from the store, he would put it in the cabinet here, but then he would just let that go bad. Like maybe he might eat one muffin out of the whole thing, put it in there and keep it. But then like 2 years later, you still see it in there and he's not eating any of those muffins anymore. You know what I mean? But he's still keeping the muffins. That's like a hoarder, you know? What's he going to build with muffins? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Animal hoarders for me are the worst. Like, I don't care. Hoard as much stuff as you want, but yeah, now you're getting innocent animals into it. That's
well, you know, if you take care of the animals, you know, feed them, clean up after them, you know, get them. They have a water bowl and it always has water in it and shit like that. Then that's not too bad. No, even if they have like 6 to 12 of them. But
sure.
if you have like 16 of them and you're letting their hair go matted with shit that they've been rolling on in the inside, the pile is so thick that it's freaking starts as 8 inches back in the corner deep and then goes to like 3 inches across the floor as it goes towards the freaking, you know, middle of the room. Yeah, that's not keeping your animals that great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's cruel. To me, it's cruel.
I live on the street. You know, I grew up poor, a single mother and everything. Yeah, my mom had a husband that was my stepdad was a psycho pig, but he doesn't spend his money on his children. He spends his money on him and his wife, and his children get just barely fed. You see what I'm saying? You know, as long as there's food in the cupboard, then that's what the kids get, and the mom and dad gets to go out and play. That's how I grew up, right?
What kind of food did you eat growing up?
Regular food, you know. But it had to have been the food that my stepdad wanted. Like it had to have been red. It had to have been red meat. It had to be the little packet of noodles that you know that people normally eat for a side with the steak. You know, we didn't get to eat anything special. You know, we got whipped if we got caught going to the fridge for a piece of cheese. You know, on the side of not being at dinner, lunch, or breakfast. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But I wanted to tell you a story that I was trying to start out before we got sidetracked by my stepdad being an abusive cop. Was that when I was in 8th grade, okay, I was in 8th grade with the rest of my class that I was supposed to be in 8th grade with. You know what I mean? Okay. But I was going through a part of my life that was pretty damn weird. That like I would have been able to just skip school all the way together, and I would have just went straight to college. But I was only in like 5th grade. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of people didn't treat me like that because I was on psych med since I was in 3rd grade. I had a speech impediment. I had to go to speech therapy class and do all this other stuff. And they didn't really care. They wanted to know what was wrong with me, but they didn't really care about what I already knew. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I didn't really think to like tell them, hey, guy, back off. I already got this science shit. I already had learned that. You know what I mean? I can't tell you when I learned it, but I was already good at it. You see what I'm saying? Well, in 7th grade, I passed 7th grade with my friends, and I was going through stuff with my family. Like I said, my stepdad's a fucking pig. I'm about 12, 13 years old. My stepdad's a fucking abusive pig. I was starting to get into puberty. You see what I'm saying? And I have this abusive pig male figure that's an abusive pig male. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm starting to go through puberty and everything, so shit's starting to get wild. You know what I mean? And next, all of a sudden, I can already tell my science teacher to just fuck the fuck off. I'm already better at science than she is. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
It's not hard for, an 8th grader.
Yeah. Well, in 8th grade, I'm sitting there. Now it's 8th grade, and I'm sitting there like, man, this shit is the same old shit. And okay, 9th grade, now you have to buckle down. You have to get credits and shit in high school. You know what I mean? So my first 8th grade year, I was just thinking, you know what? This shit, basically they were like telling me I had to have a C average, otherwise I couldn't play sports. And sports was I'm really good at physical things, but not great at mental things. So I barely was, for that 8th grade year, I was just barely holding a C average at times. When football season got done, I freaking just went back to F's. You know what I mean? And, shit like that, right? Well, freaking, I was really sad about what was happening with my real dad and then my stepdad. When I was 12, I was supposed to be able to go live with my real dad, per se, the judge or whatever, that told me when I was 7 I would be able to make a choice when I was 12. But then my real dad went to prison when I was 12. So my stepdad's an abusive pig, and my real dad went to prison. So I never got that chance, right? So I was kind of going through some shit, and I was going through puberty, and fucking my stepdad's an abusive pig, and I'm still living under his roof. I don't even want to be living under his roof, but I'm like a 12-year-old, so I can't just like go somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And next, all of a sudden, I took the 8th grade proficiencies, and all my teachers were all pissed off at me because here I was just fucking around and not doing right, being a class clown and everything else instead of trying to do my homework. Flat out not doing my homework, flat out just looking them right in their eyes and just they're wondering when I'm going to turn my paper in. Not only do I not bring it in late and then I can't turn it in because they're trying to use that as something against me. Ooh, and especially when I found out that they were trying to use that against me, if you don't turn your paper in before the fucking bell to the class starts, they're not going to accept it no matter how much you finish that paper. You know what I mean? And when they did that one to me, I never turned in a paper ever again, right? And they would look at me like I was just some shit ass that needed to fucking do what I was told. And I just happened to go to the counselor and everything. And this counselor's name was Mr. Anderson, dude. And he always was trying to find out what was wrong with Willis, And now that I'm 45 or 41, he don't give a fuck where the fuck I'm at, right? You know what I mean? But I passed the 8th grade proficiencies with some of the highest score in my class, right? And they're wondering why the fuck this is. And I don't do none of my homework, and I don't even try to read the curriculum. And then next, all of a sudden, I passed 8th grade. I even got the 8th grade certificate. I can name to you my classmates, right, that I passed my 8th grade year with. We went to the little party after 8th grade got over. We went to the little party for 8th grade graduation and all this shit. And so then I went through the summer and everything. And I'm supposed to be a freshman this year, and this is when I'm supposed to buckle down. This is when I'm supposed to get fucking credits. You see what I'm saying? This is when I have to have the credits in order to pass high school, in order to go to college, right?
Yeah.
And freaking so. I told myself already, 8th grade was way too boring and it was way too underdeveloped. And it didn't really teach me anything that 7th grade didn't teach me. So I was basically just fucking being a little dickhead, you know what I mean? And I passed my 8th grade. I passed the 8th grade with some of the highest proficiencies in my class or whatever. Next, all of a sudden, my first day of 9th grade was supposed to be, and they tell me that I have to do 8th grade again. Really? Yeah, my science teacher, Mrs. O'Toole, decided that I was going to be held back for not because of my grade, my accomplishment, not because I was stupid and couldn't fucking pass the 8th grade, but because freaking my performance was not to their liking, and
right.
Fucking so
your behavior, basically.
Yeah, they had to ask my mom if I could be held back, and my mom agreed.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So basically, Miss O'Toole wanted me held back, and they needed my mom to agree to hold me back because I had passed 8th grade. They held me back. Yep. And now I was all of a sudden in my little sister's class. And man, you thought I was fucking a class clown the year before. This time I was real bad. My English teacher, he told me that he would give me a straight A's if all I did in that class was sit there and read Rolling Stone magazine. You see what I'm saying? And I got a straight A in English. It was the only A I had. You see what I'm saying? Because I just sat there during English class and read the Rolling Stones.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, but the English teacher was a cool ass motherfucker. Anyways, named Mr. Nappy. He was he was deserving of my respect. You know, he was just a cool dude. You know, he wasn't a bad teacher. He was actually a very good English teacher. He taught physical bodybuilding. He was like a 5'8" or 5'6" Italian man, but he was like a bodybuilder back in his prime. So he was this buff ass dude that was, you know, shorter, you know, but he was buffer and fuck, and lifted weights down in the bottom of the gym. He wasn't really the PE teacher, but if you wanted to learn how to lift weights, he was your dude, you know.
Cool.
It was awesome.
We had a weightlifting class in high school, or not class, club.
Oh, that's cool.
I wasn't in it. I should have been. I was pretty strong back then. I was more into girls and backyard wrestling though.
My best friend was in the little weightlifting class with Mr. Nappy, but Mr. Nappy wouldn't let me be in the weightlifting class, even though I was just as strong as my best friend and lifted weights every day after school, anyways, because he thought I was a class clown and that I wasn't mature enough to sit there and learn weights, you know. But he was prejudicing me. But he's still the same dude that is the really cool teacher that freaking, you know, let me read Rolling Stone magazine for a straight A. But that was just so that I wouldn't fucking disrupt the class. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he's a good teacher. I think that's a mark of a good teacher to, like, for English, to say, okay, this kid's not interested in the curriculum. He's obviously bright, but not usual. So let's try to develop a curriculum that will stimulate his love for reading, for instance.
Yeah. He was like ahead of his time without having to be told to be ahead of his time. You know what I mean? Like if he would have went to the principal with this, the principal would not let me read Rolling Stones. I don't think. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Administrators. Oh man, don't get me started on my high school administrators.
You know that. Oh, sorry.
I was standing on rights even in high school. I think there was a rule that we had to identify if we were stopped in the hallways. I was like, no way, man. I can be secure in my person, in effect. And I booed the rule. And I got suspended for it.
You did what?
Booed. Like they were saying the rules in the auditorium, and I booed that rule because, you know, it's against the charter. They can't tell us that. And I got suspended for it. And they said it was the second boo when they told me to get out. That's what did it.
Wow. Yeah, that's fascism for real. That's true fascism right there. Booing, telling you to get out of school, you know, and you're a little kid, and they're supposed to be full-grown adults. You know, that's part of my problem that I have with it, is that I was the little kid, and they would not listen to me really. That's why I wouldn't talk to them really. But what happened with you is you just booed because you were showing signs of intelligence, and all of a sudden they don't like it because they're the adults here, and you're supposed to do what they tell you to do. You know?
Yeah, even back then I loved freedom. There's another time where there's a scheduled protest and there's a student walkout, and I'm in the smart class, right? So the time comes when we're supposed to walk out and nobody's doing anything. Everyone's just looking around. I stand up and walk out, and then, you know, one by one after me, everybody else stood up and walked out as well. So, you know, I never want to be a leader, but I will stand up when other people don't, like the Paul Revere type of thing.
Yeah.
I tweeted a clip the other day of William Cooper talking about how he wanted to be remembered. Yeah, he said he wanted to have that Paul Revere spirit where he stood up when no one else would, said what no one else would.
Huh.
And, you know, I try to honor his memory. I think a lot of his stuff was really good. He admits that some of it he thinks he was lied to about. He's his own hardest critic, but a lot of really cool information. And
so basically, Paul Revere was the singer for the Doors was Paul Revere.
Jim Morrison.
Yeah, Jim Morrison had a little Paul Revere in him. Then that's how I'm hearing when you're describing this.
I don't know too much about the Doors and Jim Morrison.
Well, he was always trying to like buck the system, like not trying to fall in line. They told him to shut up on his concerts, and he wouldn't shut up at his concerts. They even tried to arrest him from his concert for not shutting up.
Okay,
you know?
Cool, nice.
Yeah, so he had a little Paul Revere in him too, like you're describing.
That's good that he's remembered that way by some. Yeah, I was never really into that era of music. Mostly, I just listened to stuff like from when I was born. Mostly.
I always was drawn. I really like a lot of music, but I was really drawn to the music that my mom listened to. I think probably because part of being cognizant in the womb, I was listening to a lot of the music she was listening to. And I grew up through the 80s and the 90s listening to like Def Leppard and Led Zeppelin and all that, even what's that, the Bee Gees and everything. I used to like the Bee Gees when I was a little kid, but then when I grew up, I was like, what? I like these dudes?
Yeah, I gotta say, when I was a kid too.
Oh, you liked them a little bit when you were a kid too?
Yeah.
Awesome. They sounded different to me when I was a kid, but nowadays they kind of sounded like a little whiny and like a little high pitched,
Yeah, it's disco. Like,
yeah.
Disco sucks. Yeah, Def Leppard and like the rock bands. I know there's other kids that were into it, but I never was. Like, I took a lot of influence from my big sister, who's into like punk rock and ska, industrial music. Yeah, I'm the older siblings. Like, I'm the second youngest. I had a little brother that I don't even remember his name. I only met him once. But yeah, and I've got 3 older siblings. But really, just my sister. I grew up knowing. She was a huge influence on me. Like, most of my interests were just from like, seeing the example of the older sibling, which is often the case. So yeah, punk rock, like a lot of nerdy stuff, and I've kind of put a lot of nerdy stuff away now that I'm focusing more on my citizen journalism and not watching police reform.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, I'm not playing video games anymore, or Dungeons and Dragons, and that type of stuff that I used to really enjoy.
Yeah, it's hard to enjoy anything when you know that your government's hurting your people, huh?
Yeah, not just my government, but all the governments of the world are committing crimes against citizen journalists with impunity. That's what got me into reporting, was this issue of crimes with impunity against citizen journalists, and not just the state. The state is the one entity that targets citizen journalists the most, but it's also the people that attack citizen journalists, and then the police do nothing about it. I don't know what's worse.
I can't remember her name, but that lady got ran over by that Israeli tractor, and nobody hardly even gives a shit about that journalist. You know what I mean? And she should have been not hit by her. Yeah, I believe it was. She was trying to save a Palestinian home, and she stood in front of a tractor, and they ran her over anyways.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't heard of Kelly Thomas, the guy who was beaten to death by the cops in 2011.
I see the Wikipedia. I've probably heard of it.
Yeah. How old are you, bro? You look like you're about my age. I'm 41.
Yeah, same age. Yeah,
oh, you're 41 too? Yeah. Okay, cool. So you basically know the curriculum. You basically know the songs and the world around you, Beavis and Butthead, Simpsons, and all that other stuff growing up.
For sure.
It all happens to us.
And sports, Frank Thomas was my favorite baseball player, Chicago White Sox.
Okay, yeah.
But creatine messed up his career.
What's that?
Creatine messed up his career.
Yeah, creatine. That's like not even. It's like a sports drink. It's not even.
Well,
come on.
Well, all the baseball players in that era, they all took a bunch of creatine and got huge. And Frank Thomas was a skinny guy in his rookie year when he won Rookie of the Year, and year 2 as well when he won MVP. He won MVP his first 2 years, but then he got on the creatine and just like bulked up, and swing was never the same.
That's weird, because creatine isn't a steroid or nothing. It's just something that helps your amino acids flush. Because your amino acids build up in your muscles when you weightlift, and it helps the amino acids flush out of your muscles so that you can recover faster. So it's not even a steroid. All it does is help you recover so that you don't have that real bad achy in the muscles the next day, and you can just hit the weights again the next day, and you don't have that real bad ache. You know what I mean?
Lactic acid?
Yeah, there's amino acids that build up in the muscles that is like an acid. Yeah, it's an acid that sits on the muscle after a workout and makes it feel like you're all fucking like all jacked up in the shoulders the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you can take that away, it lessens like Hell Week. You know that Hell Week feeling. So, creatine basically is a sports drink. It has no steroids in it that I know of. It has no. It's not even like a steroid. A steroid is something that doesn't only heal the muscle; it also helps build the muscle. So steroids takes a lot of the pain and the hard work out of it. You know what I mean? I never would like no steroids. You know what I mean?
Yes, I don't do hard drugs. I wouldn't want to do anything like that.
I lifted my weight. I lifted weights as a kid, and I even have friends that went towards some steroids. You know, but when it came down to it, I was just like, no. You know what I mean? It wasn't. It didn't seem like, you know how. Well, my body is really naturally like I was saying. I have not very good. I have mental capacity, but not the learning process is very tough for me. So I hate learning, just to tell you. But at the same time, you know, if I'm focused on something, but I'm more physical. I can play football hella good. I can wrestle hella good. I can play soccer and do all these other physicalities very naturally. But, you know, sticking to a curriculum is going to bore me like within real fast. And I have to be very interested. Like learning police accountability is really interests me. And then, you know, that type of thing. Another one that interested me was trust and driving without. Those things really interest me because I always knew from when I was a little kid is my car was my car, not your car. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about your little scary story about how many of it sounds insensitive, but I'm like, I don't care how many times, because my sister died in a car accident, but I'm not going to sit there and tell everybody that, oh, you can't do this and this down the road because my big sister died in a car accident, you know, and she was doing this and this one. You know what I mean? Because none of us actually were there. And there's a lot of little factors that look like might have happened, you know, like came off of this side of the road and overcorrected to that side of the road, flipped the car. You know what I mean? What caused her to come off the road slightly to force her to jerk back onto the road? You see what I'm saying? There's all these little determining factors. If like my sister died in like a single car rollover, so they have to do all this determining factors of possibly why she rolled over. But there's nobody's going to be able to tell you the truth, and it's all a bunch of speculation on what we've seen before for these parameters. So basically, yeah, I'm not going to be the little person that tells everybody that, oh, you shouldn't have fallen asleep at the wheel at this point, and you should have got your VIN check because a VIN check will make sure that your tie rod's not going to snap. You know what I mean? There's people out there to believe that if you get the little smog check and the VIN check, that tells you that your car is worthy of the road. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that are like, I got my smog check, I have a right to drive. You know?
Yeah. They line up every 2 years or whatever it is.
All that does with those licenses and registrations is just teach these kids that they don't really have to have responsibilities, because they could just pay for some liability insurance, and their insurance company is going to, you know, help them with any liable issue, you know. And
yeah,
that never stops an accident. You know, it'll never stop an accident. Liability insurance will never stop an accident. You know.
Okay, let me show you this.
Okay.
This lady. Yeah, we'll get a picture of her face, right? I swore that I saw her before. It's this lady. Can you see the screen now? Oh.
No, I can't see the screen now. Now I see both of us.
1 sec.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I've seen her before.
Yeah, do you think it's this lady?
This is that same lady? Oh, yeah, go back.
I think it's her.
This one on the bottom right would be a possibility. And she's probably 10, or, you know, the picture on the bottom right, or maybe it's on the top left now too, that picture shows that her aging. But at the same time, she's like 10 years younger in that other picture, or 10 years older, or 10 to 20 years older in that other picture. It could be her.
And she's like, oh, I got to phone my husband. There's someone famous here. So she was like, yeah, totally playing it up. I just thought, do you know that channel, First Amendment Rights?
I'm not sure if I know that channel. I should know that channel, but I don't, probably.
It's like a Amagansett Press style where they go inside businesses.
Cool. Yeah, I like Amagansett Press style. I
do and I don't. It's entertaining, but there's no mission, right? That's
well, there's a big mission in Amagansett Press style, but he doesn't do some things the same as others, so it kind of looks like he's just out there on vacation, just videotaping his comings and goings. But he really has a mission to try to tell everybody about our First Amendment if they ask. That's like my house. I spray painted shit is fucked up and stuff, and eat my ass, you liberal Yankee whores on my house. But I did that so that people could see that and come and try to talk to me about it. Like, I want them to come and talk to me. Why the fuck did you write "eat my ass, you liberal Yankee whores" on your house? I want them to do that. But since I've done it, nobody's come and talked to me. But I hear everybody around town tells me the gossip stories that's happening where they hate the fuck out of my house. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. I take pictures of free speech whenever I can, and videos whenever people are engaging in free speech outside. So yeah, I would definitely take a picture of your outside.
There's a lot of people that like the shit that's written on my house. One time I was listening to a family walk by my house. I was listening through the bathroom window. They didn't know that I was listening. And the little daughter of the family reads the shit is fucked up and stuff on my house. And she goes, "That's accurate." She was like 11 years old or 9 years old, somewhere on there. I had a hard time not laughing because she goes, "Shit is fucked up and stuff. That's accurate." I was like, that's cool because she showed us a sign of intelligence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, children they can be pretty great for sure.
Yeah, she's actually thinking about things.
Yeah, how did the child that age even know that stuff's that fucked up?
Yeah,
I guess their parents don't try to hide the real world from them. A lot of people do.
The house is out in Gabs, dude. Fucking shit. The fucking houses have asbestos siding on them from 1940s. You're not even supposed to live in the fucking things. You know what I mean? But I've been living there at my house since 2005. So asbestos tiles it is, I guess, because whoever sold it to us with asbestos tiles on it, and the people that sold it to them with asbestos tiles on it, and the people that sold it to them with asbestos tiles on it. So I guess the asbestos tiles ain't going nowhere. George Bush in 1997, when the roofs blew off of our house, George Bush Jr., it was 1997 or 1998, George Bush Jr. declared the town a disaster area, and our house, like my house, had its roof ripped off and by the wind. And freaking, they put a metal roof, a guaranteed metal roof. It's like the roof on it's guaranteed for life, right? It's like a badass roof. My house will probably be standing there for the next 2,000 years. You see what I'm saying? Because everything under that roof is just fucking marvelous. You know what I mean? I'd say marvelous. Everybody else that sees my videos are like, "Dude, when you can clean up your yard, dude?" I'm like, I don't know, man. Go ask the guy that was harassing me, because he has the same question. You guys could team up against me and make me feel like shit even more. Come on.
Yeah, that was almost me.
What? That was almost you doing that to me?
Yeah, ganging up on you about your yard.
No, that's all right, bro. It's all right. Like that guy. Especially if that guy that was harassing me didn't start telling me he was going to stuff my camera up my ass, I probably wouldn't have put in a complaint against him because he was only harassing me. I would have still videotaped him. You know what I mean? But it was until he told me he was going to stuff my camera up my ass, that's when I started complaining about him. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know when the motherfucking dude was going to touch me, dude. He kept on getting progressively worse with it, and the longer that the county let him keep on telling, like they weren't showing any interest in getting these videos that showed their county worker telling me that he was going to stuff my camera up my ass. And they were just like telling me, "Well, he's just coming by your house. He's just doing his job. He's not harassing you. There's nothing that we can do about him. In fact, we are not going to stop him." You know what I mean? Basically, there's nothing we can do for you. Basically, what the sheriff's department was saying to me. And this shit is starting to get progressively worse. The first 2 times he said it to me, he was just kind of like standing there. Like the first time, it was kind of like a WWF skit. He's like, "That camera will be stuffed up his ass, and let it be known that Jim Basinger's telling you this." Something like that. It was almost like Randy Savage or whatever. Like, "Let it be known that Jim Basinger's telling you this, brother." You know what I mean? That's basically the first time he threatened me like that. I was like, wait a second. I don't know whether I should fucking be standing here letting him like point towards me and come at me or whatever, or be this close to me, or whether I should just like laugh at him. You know what I mean? But then the second time he fucking threatened me, he was in the public building behind the public glass, and he tells me, "This is your First Amendment rights right here." That's what he says. And they don't even like me because I've used the First Amendment to cuss. They don't like how I provocatively cuss words. you know. And fucking cussing cuss words is part of like Tourette, when you have Tourette's, right? Or even if you have like borderlining Tourette's, cuss words are really easy to say. I don't know if you can like feel me on that one, but it seems like things that are like,
it's
you know,
threats.
it makes our brains tickle. You know what I mean? To say things that people don't like. People with Tourette's brains tickle when they say things that people don't like. I don't know how I can tell you that, but that's kind of what it is. It's almost like the other words are hard to say, but the cuss words are like greased up. You know what I mean? I don't know how to say that, but
it just flows.
Yeah, those ones flow. But the words that we're supposed to like talk all cordial, but we don't want to sit there and talk like everybody makes us talk. We want to fucking let our fucking cuss words flow off of our tongues. You know what I mean? That's, I guess, my point of view towards that. From where I'm standing, that's what I see. But yeah, that's why I'm sitting there cussing. The county's telling me that they don't like me for cussing, but then the Jim Basinger is behind the county glass down there going, "Oh," he goes, "Are you allowed to call me that?" And I said, "Yeah, I have a First Amendment right to call you any names I want." And he goes, "Oh, there's your first." He goes like that when I say I have the First Amendment right. He goes like that, and then I go, then he goes, "Here's your First Amendment," like that. You know, sorry, he flipped me off from behind the county glass. You know. And that's another one. That's another thing I want to always say to everybody when I'm trying to tell my story to everybody is that, like, Michigan Constitutional Crusader, the very first time he was making a video, the chief of police came at him, and he goes, he caught the chief of police on camera saying "fuck your rights," you know, and that's what everybody when they heard the chief of police say "fuck your rights" to Michigan Constitutional Crusader, everybody got on the fucking phone and started calling that place in Michigan saying, "Hey, you know what? No, fuck our rights," and shit like that. Chief of police and everything, and the Michigan Constitutional Crusader just got like charges dropped, let out, and everything. But since the county knows me since I was a little kid, they're not wanting to drop the charges. They know I've cussed at them before. They don't like how I call them bitches. They don't want the guy that calls them a bunch of bitch ass punks to be able to like win this thing, you know, or be he thinks he can call us a bunch of bitch ass punks. Well, guess what? We have the fucking court system, and we have a prison system that we can put him in for. Like, let's see how many charges we can stack up against him. We'll even tell him that we're going to medicate him into fucking competency. You see what I'm saying? That's what they're doing to me, you know. And it's like, I wish that the rest of the country would start calling Nye County about the Jim Basinger was the one that was telling him he was going to stuff his camera up his fucking ass. You know what I mean? You know, I seen the video where Jim Basinger was telling him about the First Amendment and said, "Here's your First Amendment right here." You know what I mean? And then there comes the issue. Then there comes the issue with like, "Oh, dude, he was just flipping you off." It's like, yeah, flipping somebody off could mean many different things. So I'm not really worried about the flipping them off. Yeah, flipping them off is just a simple hand gesture, flipping them off. But at the same time, if you flip me off or you call me a hoarder, that's one thing, because you're just one of the people on this land. I don't know you to be the cops or the any of the local goons around here. You know what I mean? But in this world is what I mean. You know. So what I'm trying to say is that for you to call me a hoarder or for you to flip me off is one thing. You go ahead, dude. Sticks and stones are gonna break my bones, and words are gonna hurt me or not gonna hurt me. But this dude is supposed to be a public service agent. You see what I'm saying? And that's where it's just like, you know, he should not be doing this. And then I want to complain about this. But, you know, if you were calling me the bottom feeding Obama lover, I would just be like, okay. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, you, compared to most people, you responded to my criticism in a great way. Like, most people would take that criticism and just turn it around in their egos and throw back at me and, you know, hate me for it.
Yeah, but you know, that's not easy for me because I know how to dish it back too and everything. And you know, I'm not always that guy that doesn't criticize back, but at the same time, if it warrants it, then it warrants it. You know what I mean? You're not a bad guy all the way. You're not a bad guy like through and through, like some of these bastards. Like, I'm not a bad guy through and through, but I could be an asshole. You know what I mean? And I could just tell that, you know, I'm not sitting here trying to go to town with every fucking dude on the internet trying to call me a hoarder. You know what I mean? Right? Yeah. We all have a thing where we can tell what's really going on, what's really not going on. You know what I mean? Because like when you criticized me, it could have been just like Blue Bacon criticizing me, but you're not Blue Bacon. Blue Bacon is actually a malicious dude. You know what I mean? He actually wants to see you lose your rights. He doesn't want to just call me a hoarder because he thinks that I'm a hoarder, because there's very 2 or 3 signs that could point to me being a hoarder, right? Just by looking at things. But yeah, Blue Bacon, he would be more malicious than that. You see what I'm saying? So I can tell, you know what I mean? You know, and you know,
it's always like a clinical thing for me, right? It's not like, oh, you're a hoarder and therefore you're lesser being, right?
Yeah, we were arguing, and I said things back to you, but so we argued because these were points that we didn't agree on, not maliciousnesses, you know. So that was a big difference there, you know what I mean? And sometimes you have
this understanding. I was trying to understand you, and you're trying to help me understand you, I think.
Yeah, I tried to choose that route because I know for a fact I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? I know that I've been in special ed off and on since I was in 3rd grade. You know what I mean? But does that make me stupid? No. But are you gonna possibly be able to easily portray me as stupid? Hell, you know, like you with my history, then you would be able to portray me as special ed, you know, and all this other stuff. But at the same time, I know this stuff, so I already know that I'm no better than a hamster. You know what I mean? So I don't have to take a bad stance against every act of criticism, because I already know I can criticize myself easily. You know what I mean? And your criticisms aren't going too far past my own. You see what I'm saying? Unlike Blue Bacon, where Blue Bacon is actually even trying to use his legal policy. He's like, in his head, it's totally relevant and like logical. And legal policy is legal policy, but it's not law. And my law is that I had a chance to go down and buy a truck or to acquire a truck, and I'm going to use my truck, you know, for whatever I see fit and I intend. No, I do not intend to use my truck to harm other people, and I'm going to try my best to stay away from harming anybody, including myself. You know what I mean? And that's where I should be allowed to express that logic. You see what I'm saying? But Blue Bacon is trying to logically talk me out of thinking that I have the ability to do that. You see what I'm saying? Like, he's trying to actually take away my right to use my property because he thinks that logically he can explain to me why a 4,000-pound killing machine shouldn't be on the roads without paying $190. You see what I'm saying? For Blue Bacon, he thinks that paying $190 for registration makes it a 4,000-pound killing machine better than a 4,000-pound killing machine.
Yeah, it's something different, right?
Yeah, something different. When it's still moving down the road at 80 miles an hour, you know, because that's what the new state law in Nevada says, that you can travel 80 miles an hour.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
That's high, right? Or is that lower?
What?
Is that higher or lower than it was?
It was 75 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour. You know, it depends. And when the 80 mile an hour zones are it depends. It's on interstates and long highways. You know what I mean?
We have a 100-kilometer speed limit here. 100 kilometers, so that's like
60.
Yeah, 60, 70 around there.
Oh, 60 or 70.
Yeah.
I know.
That's on
like
the highway.
120 kilometers. Yeah, is around 60 or 70, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy. It's funny how we all are under British rule, but we have to use miles and you have to use kilometers.
Yeah. Imperial, I think it has something to do with pyramid math. Like there's 12 inches in the pyramid, like inside. They think that it might have been baked, but yeah, there's like a line and it's said to be a curve. So yeah, that is 12 inches.
That Justice of the Peace, Jennifer Clapper, that lady's in a fraternal. She's a fraternal. She has a fraternity. It's like I don't know what they call it. Isn't it fraternity for the females or
sorority?
Sorority, yeah, or something like that. She has some kind of thing. I can't remember. You have to like search her name and everything, but she has some kind of fraternal like something Kappa something.
Okay, yeah, sorority.
Yeah. And it has to do with they all go there and they probably all get taught how to talk because you know how there's females and then there's males in the secret societies. Mm-hmm. The females can be in the secret societies, but they can never reach the high levels as the males in the secret society, just like you were saying earlier. So they have to kind of like be a lesser peon than, but they still choose to not speak because they are allowed perks, right? Well, yeah, that's how this lady is, and they even announce it on the news, like that, like she has her education, they announce her education and everything, so, yeah, I was looking up her name, and she had had a fraternity or whatever that she was part of, or whatever sorority or whatever it is.
Is she married?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look into that. I think she has kids and is married, but I didn't really look into that very much. I was just trying to wonder why she acts the way she does as a justice of the peace. You see what I'm saying? Like her schooling, her how much she makes, and how long she's been doing government. You know what I mean? So those are basically the things I looked up about her. But yeah, I made a video about her from a video I got from like 2015. I made a video on my channel about her. You can play it if you want. It's pretty cool. It's about her bias. She was trying to tell me about attire then. She says attire. She says, that's not proper courtroom attire. I was wearing a T-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops. You know what I mean? So she said that wasn't proper attire. And now they're trying to tell me that my shirt with the I wrote, you piece of shit, bitch-ass boy. You're at my house or something like that. Oh, yeah, that's why I put, you piece of shit, cock-sucking, bitch-ass boy. That's why I put on my shirt. I put, this is a protest. That's what my shirt said. And I was going to wear that one to the court where I was getting charged for stalking for saying those same words. You know what I mean? Except for this is the protest part. They're trying to charge me with stalking for one instance. You see what I'm saying? One day. I even have it on the video where the Jason Gunnell district attorney is telling me he charged me from my video. But he charged me from my video. But in my video, I'm just recording the public service agent. And I'm in the public alley, and then we go over on this side of my house, and now we're both on the public easement. You know what I mean? So we were in a public alley, we were on a public easement, and I'm using my voice to like tell him he's harassing me and call him a piece of shit, cocksucking bitch ass boy and everything. I don't deny those words, you know what I mean, right? But then I protest him a little bit, like right there when he's right there on my street, and then he like goes down around the rest of the town, and I stop protesting him. I just go home to upload my video, because the sooner I get my video footage up, then the sooner the people can see what happened. And freaking, this was May 30th, okay? But April 25th, I have proof that I sent my public defender, Kelly Blatnick, a complaint about this guy. I said this guy was named as a witness against me in my where the deputy pushed me. This kid tries to say that he's a witness that says that he never sees the deputy push me, but he just sees Mr. Provstgaard get physical with the deputy. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So basically, he's a witness against me. In the camera I'm holding, in the camera footage that I'm holding, you can see I'm standing about 4 feet from the public service agent who is standing in front of a truck, and then there's a road, and then there's another truck, and then on the other side of that truck, all the way across the road, is where this guy who claims to have witnessed.
Okay.
The cop not pushed me, but I pushed the cop because they're trying to get me for battery on a peace officer when I really just defended myself against his police brutality.
And they dropped that, right?
No.
They didn't?
They didn't drop that. They didn't drop that. No. They even went to an evidentiary hearing and then bound the case over to district, even though they said the margin that says that the margin at the evidentiary hearing, the scope of the case was whether I pushed a cop in defense or whether I pushed a cop in battery. You see what I'm saying? That was like the margin of the scope of the case at the evidentiary hearing. Well, we have this evidentiary hearing, and everybody watches the video where the cop walks up to me and shoves me when I'm not detained, when I'm not under arrest. He just walks up to me and shoves me, and then I defended myself with one push on his little shoulder, and he takes me down for police brutality, slams me up against the truck, and puts me in the handcuffs, and then fucking I do the protest flop, and then he fucking tries to drag me by the cuffs. You see what I'm saying? So basically, he used the opportunity to even further brutalize me. You know what I mean? One
person shouldn't be dragging a person in cuffs, right? If you're protesting, you need at least 3 people there to carry you. One legs and then one for each arm.
Besides, we were out in this town called Gabs, and fucking it's so small, and fucking there's all the time in the world out there, dude. They could have just sat there and like talk to me. Come on, Mr. Provstgaard, it's time to just get in the truck now. Your protest is over. I've already put you under arrest and everything. Yeah, but it's unlawful arrest. You know what I mean? And then have that conversation with me. They don't want to have any conversations with me that actually pertain to me being logical. You know, they want to portray me as this weird cussing dude that needs to be stopped or something, you know, but I'm not the one making threats to stuff their tools up their ass. I'm not the one initially shoving them, you know what I mean, and forcing them to defend themselves against me. And then now with this latest thing where the fucking papers that they're the ones that wrote up, and now they're threatening me even more because they write up the papers that say what I said one thing, right? You know what I mean? Even though I showed you that paper. And what was said, what they say I said is not even a fucking crime and not even aimed at any one particular person at all.
Yeah.
You know?
And they took it to mean that you're threatening every single county employee.
Yeah. Then they take it to that I'm threatening every county employee, even though there's no county employee described in any of that which they say I said. And then on top of it, the new what that Kelly Blatnick public defender said about me, saying she brings up something about courthouse when there's nothing about courthouses in anything that they say I said.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
and
it's like
is that incident on camera as well?
No, that's all on an email where she's.
I mean, when they're saying your AR-15 was that was it an email?
No, that wasn't an email. I don't know what that was. I think it was a phone call where I don't think that's even what I said. You know, I think I said something along the lines. Do I need to take up my defensive tool and defend myself against any shitbag that keeps coming around my house? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going around them. You guys need to start leaving me alone sometime around this, because I don't know if you've seen my videos, but they keep coming to my house for their fucking own wants and whims. I was told by a county agent that they're being briefed to that they have nothing on me, that they're being briefed to make reasons to come around my house in hopes that I'll do something that they can put hands on me for. Yeah. That's what the county agent told me.
Yeah, they're trying to instigate that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So they kept on coming by my house with to serve me this paper or that paper, when really they could have just served that to my public defender, and my public defender could have notified me about those instances like they're supposed to do. My public defender isn't there for no reason, even though she's basically being there for no reason other than to fucking harm me. You know?
Total malfeasance.
And the lady is smart too. You know, I think that the lady is smart. I think that she's might even be a good lady, that public defender lady, but she's not using her smarts to help me out in any way, shape, or form. You see what I'm saying? Every time I ask her to put in, there's like 5 to 8 motions that she should be putting in before any other court processes are even gone through. You see what I'm saying? Like, she should never let it go to a trial date without having put in a motion to dismiss.
Absolutely.
On the defendant's behalf. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, for
and
sure.
Every time I ask her to put in what's up?
As many motions to dismiss as you can should get it.
Yeah, and every time I ask her to enter a motion on my behalf, she says, "This is not the time for a motion." She gives me some excuse as to why she shouldn't put in a motion at this time, even though there's like 5 to 8 motions that every defendant should have placed by the time they get to a trial process. You know what I mean? There's like a motion to suppress evidence. There's a motion to dismiss the case. There's a motion to strike evidence. There's a motion to, there's a couple other motions, you know, that was just 3 out of like 5 to 8 motions that I could just think of, you know, and I'm not even the public defender, you know. It's just horrible, dude.
I fired all my public defenders myself. We call it legal aid here.
And, they call it legal aid there?
Legal aid.
They like to call it things that are never going to be exactly what they call it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you don't, another issue that American can't share is the lack of civil rights lawyers and the lack of civil rights lawyers for, you know, like legal aid or
I can't believe
defenders do that type of thing.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point right there, because I cannot believe that there's only 2 motherfuckers, you know what I mean, in the whole legal system that are on. There's not only 2, I guess there's 3, but I don't include Leto's Law, because Leto's Law should be Leto's Legalities, because Leto's Legalities only discusses legal policy. He doesn't actually bring up laws. But that the civil rights lawyer or whatever on YouTube, and then there's that DUI guy. The DUI guy actually tries to get people out of things, you know, that they shouldn't be in, you know. Mm-hmm. And then that civil rights lawyer actually tries to truly remedy wrongs. You know what I mean? But yeah, come on, you can't. You mean to tell me that those are the only two people in the whole United States that are actually trying to remedy wrongs for people? I can think of a couple other attorneys that are really good, okay? But I can't get them to work with me on my case at all, even though I trust these two attorneys out of everybody in the whole United States. And one of them is Mark Garagos, okay? He's California. And the other one is, what's his name? David Lane in Colorado. You know, David Lane is the guy who got Eric Brandt. Eric Brandt was a homeless dude, and he knew these homeless people that were getting their stuff swept off the sidewalk with a backhoe. And freaking Eric Brandt pointed out that that's public easement, and that those people have a right to use public easement just like any other American. Just because they're homeless does not exclude them from their right to first come, first serve. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Brandt employed David Lane, I believe, and they won like $180,000 for each bum or something like that. I don't know exactly what happened, but he won this big amount of money for each one of the homeless people. You know, I say bum and everything, but I'm a homeless person myself too. You know what I mean? But we all know what we're talking about when we say these provocative words. You know what I mean? Plus, there's got to be a context behind it. You know, but yeah, badass, I would say. You know what I mean? That David Lane was able to win good money for people that most people would rather sweep off the sidewalk. You know?
Yeah, those homeless people typically don't get legal representation, so yeah, it's rare to see.
Eric Brandt was the one that was intelligent enough, you know, to realize that, hey, wait a second, those homeless people have rights too. You know what I mean? Whether you do call them bums, or whether you call them homeless, or whether you call them transients, or whether you call them freaking hobos, you know, they have rights. They have human rights.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of the homeless people in my area have been, I think, vacated from the sidewalk.
Wow. That's usually what happens to them, you know. It seems like we don't actually have a right to use our public. We just get allowed to use our public.
Yeah, I think like as long as you're only taking up half the sidewalk, it should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, if there's a way to pass, then there's a way to pass, and it's not blocking. That also goes for if I'm like sitting on one half of the sidewalk, but something that needs the whole sidewalk comes through, I should be willing to part with my piece of the sidewalk for a second to allow that big thing to pass through. Like, you know, like handicapped people have wheelchairs that are wider than most people are when they walk. So I would have to kind of like be willing to like share with that too, you know, with them too, you know. But at the same time, that comes down to opinion, because not everybody is like me in opinion, and it is not unlawful to not move for the handicap. You see what I'm saying? It's just a matter of opinion, and most people frown upon you if you don't move for the handicap. You see what I'm saying? Even my wife, she's handicapped, but if she heard me call her handicapped, oh man, she'd be like, "What are you?" You know what I mean? She'd get real mad at me, you know. I could take it a step further with her and call her a cripple, you know what I mean? But then she'll really get pissed off at me. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying?
Are you like physically with her right now?
No.
Yeah, you had to be separated, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm in exile. I don't want to say anything about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so that must be hard on both of you.
Oh, big time. You know, both of us are traumatic brain injury recipients. You know?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. You know how it is then. You need stability. You need regularness. You definitely don't need people outside your house threatening you and harassing you. You know?
People who are supposed to protect you.
Yeah, you need to be able to do what you want within reason and kind of keep yourself comfortable. You know? That's how I am, you know, and that's how my wife is too. My wife is worse than me. You know, I had a traumatic brain injury. I have been working through it, but my wife had 3 strokes, you know. And they said my brain is like a stroke victim because I had a traumatic brain injury, right? And it does a little damage to the brain. But at the same time, I can't say that, you know, I got my problems, I guess. And when we're thinking, my wife can actually think a little bit better than me, but she's less physical than me. She has left side paralysis. You know what I mean? So it's easy to tell that my wife has a stroke victim brain. but it's not easy to tell that I have a stroke victim brain. But at the same time, I really do have a traumatic brain injury, which is scary. But the thing about it is that both me and my wife are both happy and loving people. You know, we joke with each other, we cut each other down, we cuss at each other for fun. A lot of people laugh at us because the way we talk to each other, we'll be like, no, fuck you, no, fuck you, no, fuck you. You know what I mean? Type of shit. But we're just, we're showing each other love, actually. You know what I mean?
You talk to people you love.
Yeah, it's not even a fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not even an argument even, you know? It was even just joking.
It's like you don't call a stupid person a retard, but you call your friends that.
Yeah. No, if they're really mentally handicapped, and you know about it, you're not going to sit there in a malicious fashion and call them, "Oh, you a retard," unless you were really hateful that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless you're a cop.
Yeah, or a cop. You know, just they're hateful even when they're just being normal. But yeah, you with your friends, yeah, definitely you call them a retard just joking around, because that's what you're just doing. You're just joking around. It's like if you see my house in real life, you might call me a hoarder again. I'm just gonna be like, damn, bro, I like pigeons, but just because I got 40 of them doesn't mean I'm a hoarder. You know what I mean?
And I picked up the application for a passport today, so I'm gonna maybe try to flee Canada.
That's probably, you know, there's way more life out here than those fucking imperialistic fascist fucking English countries, dude. I'm telling you, you know.
Yeah,
so people are way more loving.
I figure I should probably fly to Mexico and then just go north from Mexico.
Well, if you could fly to Mexico, I would suggest that you did that, because, you know, it's there's a point in our lives where you have to be the immigrant, where you have to be the refugee, where you have to be the one fleeing Syria. You see what I'm saying? We're not as bad as we have nothing. We couldn't tell a person from Syria how bad. They would laugh at us for our plights, okay? But I'm just saying, you're still a refugee, especially if your life is being threatened. You know, you're trying to follow the law, and you're actually exercising the law, but your life is being threatened. Yeah, you're a refugee. It's time to surrender. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was thinking Iceland, but you know, America is another republic that I wouldn't mind checking out.
Constitutional republics are pretty good. You know,
yeah.
But if you can get them to follow the Constitution, because like every country's government goes to power instead of Constitution. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know if you've been paying attention to some of my comments lately about the Second Amendment, and that the first half of the Second Amendment has really been ignored by Americans. And that's the duty, right? The first half is the duty and says, you know, well-regulated militia. Mm-hmm. The second half is the right that comes with people who fulfill that duty, I think, which is the right to bear arms.
Yeah, but listen, about that, I can tell you exactly what's happening, okay, in the United States of America. Because what's happening is everybody is holding onto their guns, and they make this yeehaw feeling like, yeehaw, I'm going out and shoot my gun. But there was a point in time where we all wanted militias, right? But for Nevada, for instance, there is a state militia in Nevada. But guess who that is? The Nevada National Guard under the governor's office. Is that a state's militia of the people? Or is that some fucking bunch of pig thug cops from the fucking fire department and the PD trying to act like they're part of the Nevada National Guard militia? You see what I'm saying? That is not a militia well regulated by the people, for the people. You know, so if you...
It's the fascists that are organizing. Like, they're the ones that are doing the militias. They're the ones that are organizing in school boards and politics.
But, you know, also, though, the thing about it also is the second part of that is that, okay, so now they've basically made it scary to be in a militia for anybody but the National Guard or the state National Guard, because now they'll threaten you that you can't have your militia because they already got one. They'll say, why do you need a militia? We already got a Nevada militia. It's the Nevada National Guard, and they're here to protect you. But they're not really here to protect you. You know what I mean? But the other fact is that up until real recently, like 2011, 2015, people weren't recording their government on a regular basis, where everybody had a cell phone with a camera in their hand. But after 2011, now we're able to record. But prior to 2011, if you got caught assembling in the state of Nevada with more than 4 people on the sidewalk, that was considered a gang activity, and you would be subject to arrest You see what I'm saying? But now all of a sudden that we have cameras, all of a sudden now they're starting to honor the First Amendment right to assemble.
Yeah, the camera is perhaps, you know, the 21st century, but again, it needs like a well-regulated camera people. Like, we need to organize, and a lot of people are doing that now. Like Leroy investigates the Army of Freedom, and Alex Jones with I forget what his organization is. So
David Kokesh.
Sorry?
Adam Kokesh, I mean, not David Kokesh, Adam Kokesh.
Yeah, well, he's kind of like taking a step out of the spotlight. He stopped doing social media stuff, stopped posting videos.
But he was trying to do an assemble thing. He was kind of doing an assembly of one, but he was trying to talk to people into assembling. You know what I mean? You know, and that's what a militia is. A militia is an assembly of people that get together to like train themselves and regulate themselves on the law. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he is gathering people, from what I understand, to his compound. That might be an interesting place to visit in Arizona.
Yeah, but the only problem is that between 2013 and 2018, there was the Bundy standoff type thing, and there was things happening in the state of Nevada because that's where the standoff was taking place. That people were actually coming towards the state of Nevada to they didn't know how long it was gonna last. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So there was tons of different activists moving towards Nevada at that time. It was almost like a mass. It was like an exodus, but not an exodus. It was a gathering. It was like a mass gathering, and it was really getting bigger. That's why the government stopped. You know, because the people were gathering more and more every single day, and Nevada was really starting to. You could really feel it. You know what I mean? There was really the people starting to gather around Nevada during that time of the standoff. And the thing about it was that once that standoff ended, which it took between 2013 and 2016, and it basically ended, the Nevada once ended in 16, but then they started that one little standoff in Oregon where Lavoy Finicum was basically entrapped and murdered by the FBI. I don't know if you followed that. Did you follow any of that?
Don't think so, no.
After 2016, there was a lot of activists still hanging around, even though the standoff was over. And this activist got with this activist, and that activist got some land over here, and then told some other activists that they could stay on their land. And then these activists tried to stay on this land, and then some of these activists went over to that over there. And pretty soon, for me, I was friends with two activists that were friends with each other and then started fighting with each other. And then I had to pick and choose, which the choice was easy between them two because the more better activist was the one, the one that wasn't trying to just get drunk all the time and party and fucking go out to the races with local friends. That was the one I didn't want to chill with. And the one that actually was trying to stand up for the people and actually had, was actually doing things. I stuck with them, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I lost friendship with others, you know what I mean? There was a time between 2013 and 2016 that James Freeman, he would have stuck up for me. But when I went with this other activist instead of the other one was more friends with James Freeman, and James Freeman started going against the ones I stuck up for. You see what I'm saying? So nowadays, I wouldn't be able to tell you that James Freeman would never stand up for me. But there wasn't nothing that I did to James Freeman, but I could understand why. You see what I'm saying? So basically, I don't really talk to him very much, but I still watch his videos, give him a thumbs up, and support him. I just don't try to ever think that I would have his help, you know what I mean, anymore. So basically, there was a time that I seen between all of these activists that were really standing together between 2013 and 2016, who now, after 2018 through 2021, wouldn't even hang out with each other anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a lot of egos. I think part of public recording is, people want to be famous. So it attracts a lot of narcissists or people with narcissistic tendencies. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that does make that more difficult.
You know, it's just the level of, it's like you calling me a hoarder. I do have things that you would be able to say I was a hoarder. Like there's like 3 to 5 things that you could like say that I fit the hoarder trait. But at the end of the day, it's, I guess, maybe the level of hoarder, because I stack up materials that I can use building my pigeon cages and stuff like this, or if I need a chicken yard or something. I'm not rich, so I can't just go out there and buy these materials. So I have to acquire the materials over time and have a place to store them. If I do not have to store them, then I would not even be able to have a chicken yard or a pigeon cage. But I have have rights too. You know, I have wants. I like animals. I want pigeons. I love watching pigeons. They're the link between the ground, our bodies, and the heavens, because we're on the ground and the pigeons are rock doves. They breed on the ground. You know what I mean? And they actually like to stay on cliff walls and edges and the ground than rather be in the trees. So you pick them up off the ground, you raise them up. When you pick them up off the ground with your hand, you throw them into the sky. You see what I'm saying? And then they go flying in the sky, soaring all around, you know, in the sunshine and everything, in the sky. And then they come back to the home that you provided for them because they like that home. You know, if they like that home, they'll come back to it. And pigeons that's just how they're the link between the ground, our human body, and the sky, the heavens above. You see what I'm saying?
Very cool. Yeah.
You know, so, you know, and a lot of people, they don't realize that I have a ceremonial inipi in my front yard. I have a sweat lodge, Native American ceremonial sweat lodge in my yard. And a lot, especially the people in my town that are like, there's racism in the United States, and everybody would try to deny it. But at the same time, there was a Native American reservation 28 miles away from my town, but back in the 80s and the 90s, they basically weren't allowed in town. You know what I mean? And they could come to our school because that was the public school that they were being indoctrinated in, but they couldn't really come to our town to do anything else. If they come to the bar, they have to get their alcohol and leave. You know what I mean? They didn't really see a bunch of Native Americans hanging around at the bar, even in the 90s, you know, when things were starting to change. Then towards the late 90s to the early 2000s, then you started seeing a bunch, or everybody our generation started coming to the bars. You know what I mean? But yeah, nowadays it's a way better life in the United States nowadays and under our generation than it was in our parents' generation in the United States. The United States in our parents' generation was one of corporal punishment, segregation, racism, high racism, and that happens in any group of people too. Like, you know, the Hispanic people aren't going to trust the white people aren't going to trust the black people aren't going to trust the Hispanic people, especially when the governments around them have segregated them and forced them into segregation, and they haven't had a chance to naturally integrate, and so they're standing up, especially when fucking the white people would be able to do something that the black people can't do. That's going to cause the black people to say, don't you bring your white ass around me, because you're gonna come around me and you're gonna do something I can't even fucking do, and then you're gonna rub it into my face. I don't fucking think so. You stay over in your neighborhood and I'll stay over in my neighborhood. How about that? That way I don't have to see you get away with the things they beat my ass over. You see what I'm saying?
Very true. Yeah. But I don't know. There's still a lot of division today, right? It's just a new type of division.
Mm-hmm.
On many fronts. Yeah, I'm getting a bit of feedback from whenever I speak. You're a bit of a muffled. But I think we're getting close to 3 hours here. Maybe I'm wasted. I'm so tired right now. Been up for about 21 hours now.
You on the east side?
Yeah, I'm on East Coast.
Oh, so yeah, it's like 3 hours early or later for you, huh?
Yeah, it's about 1 o'clock. But I'd love to pick it up another time.
Yeah, can I say something about that? Is that if we pick this up, is there any questions you want to ask me about what's happening to me? So instead of just rambling on together, you can like.
Yeah, we could do a more direct one if you want. Kind of just maybe a bit of a timeline.
Yeah, probably you could ask me questions that you want me to answer about what happened, and then you could stop me wherever and like get more detail from me about some other instances, and then nobody's actually done that with me for my case at all, and I would really appreciate somebody doing that, you know, because it's kind of a long story, and if we keep on rambling off about every single thing on earth, but we're just trying to get to know each other, and I like that part, you know. It's going to allow a lot of other people to like get to know me too, you know what I mean, and possibly you too, and whatever, you know, and you
Yeah,
know,
I think it's great. I think it's been too long that we've known each other and not spoken.
yeah, like this, yeah, because we type back and forth to each other, and our relationship has grown on typing chat. So so that's pretty damn cool. And now it's grown a little bit better now that we've actually got to talk to each other with our voices, and we are a lot more better, in my opinion. I think, you know.
And I'd also love to hear the perspective of your family if anyone's willing to come on.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Do you think I should talk to my little sister about coming onto the panel with like another video screen or whatever?
Yeah, and maybe if she's interested.
Maybe who?
Your wife, if she's interested.
Yeah, I'll ask my wife too. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that for like the third show, where we'll do a little bit more directed conversation next time, and then bring on the family after that.
Yeah, that would be pretty dang cool, dude. You know, and it's pretty awesome of you to like have that thought to do that too, because you know, what's happening is affecting them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
I tell you, I met my wife in 2018. Okay, and I seen her on Facebook, and I thought that she was real pretty and everything, but I didn't know that she had 3 strokes and was left side flaccid or whatever, right? But when I met her actually in real life, none of those left side flaccid or 3 strokes part deterred me from wanting to know who she was. You know what I mean? And we actually did. I helped her out with a ride across town one time, and dropped her off at like her ex's mother-in-law's house, or ex's mother's house. So it was like her like mother-in-law type thing's house, right? But that was before we decided to start dating or whatever. And then so I just basically used the opportunity to help her out, right? And then she actually liked me too, you know, but she wasn't telling me that she liked me. And then you know, then we started talking on Facebook a lot more, and I decided to go pick her up and bring her out to my house. And then we were together for like 3 years before we decided to get married, right? And then, but the whole time it was like we were married from day one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like as soon as we got together, you were inseparable.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So you know, this is really affecting my wife really bad, and this is affecting my little sister. She is, you know, it doesn't take a genius to know that what they're doing to me is wrong. But you know, for my little sister, she's really, you know, irritated that we have to look at this, and the only reason why it's happening still is because the people that are doing it are in the positions that they are in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, power does what it wants. That's pretty much, you know, the maximum of the 20th century and on to the 21st. Is power does what it wants.
Yeah.
And it's unmatched. There's no checks and balances anymore. The checks and balances are all together.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if you've seen my little short video where I say, this piece of shit's been harassing me since 2015, and he goes, 2015? It's been a lot sooner than that, or is it?
I got called a monkey today. I got called a nigga today by a white person. Come on, man. Do better.
Terrible.
Do better. Do better, man. Do better. Nice talking to you.